You guys probably feel a lot better now that the market's had a couple of strong up days. But I always hate to be the bearer of bad news. I gotta take a zoom out and show you the chart so you can get an idea of exactly where we are. Here's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Here's the NASDAQ. And do you remember when I told you that was a double top there? It's actually a triple top, but when you can't break through a resistance level like that, even on an index, then typically the next move will be a lot lower after the bounce. Here's the Russell 2000. Here's the S&P 500. But as we go through these charts, I'll tell you some of the things I said. As you can see, people have recency bias. You see, the markets went up 1,000 points today, another 500 the next day, and you say, okay, good, the worst of it's over. Not if you take a look at where we are. Markets have been falling since November, some of them, and you can trust in gold because this right now is the strongest, greatest, most massive price rally we've ever seen by far in the price of the metal. You got to remember that the most likely decision for any investment or index is to continue in the same trend it's on right now. That's the highest probability. And right now, things are trending lower. We're entering a bear market. We're going through the great economic pivot that I've told you about months ago, which is pretty prescient about when it actually happened. You can trust in gold because there's more central banks than ever buying gold. There used to be a few select banks that did most of the buying. Now it's many of them. The ones that are buying bigger amounts, larger quantities of gold. The central bank appetite is showing only signs of accelerating. Everything's different now. All the rules are different, and I always tell you they'll be even more different once the recession starts. We are going to have a change up in the rules, and even what the politicians tell you and how they tell you and what actions they take. Everything will be different in a recession. People's mindsets change from greed to fear. There's a completely different outlook for the decisions a person makes. You can trust in gold because there's far less faith in the American dollar, the American economy, as the bellwether for the whole world. That's why you saw stocks and bonds both selling off at the same time. That's very rare. It's one of the most negative signs that a stock market can experience. And we've seen it a couple of times over the last few weeks. Also, I said that a lot of the buying pressure was actually a short covering rally, or a few of them actually. And I said that I think the shorts are covering the positions too soon because I expect even more downside. But who am I to talk about day-to-day trading like that? These markets have a lot further to go down as the biggest bubble in the history of humanity pops. And when we get to the point where they've fallen enough, because it's like a pendulum, stocks overcorrect, undercorrect, overcorrect. So they always go too far one way or the other. So they're not only going to go to fair value, which is not calculable anymore, but they're not going to go down a lot. They're going to go even beyond how far down they should go. And that's when it represents capitulation. Baby out with the bathwater, blood on the streets, get greedy, load up. That's when you sell your gold mining stocks, silver mining stocks, and move the money into all these blue chip American companies. But that's not going to be for at least a year and a half, probably a lot longer. But before that happens, you're going to see gold mining stocks double or triple. You're going to see silver mining stocks triple or quadruple. And there's going to be a lot of profits to take to then put into other select investments that you want to buy. But if you're set up like I told you to be set up, owning some really high quality silver gold mining stocks, high quality, not the ones that are more dangerous, a few oil companies specifically, and that's about it. If you're set up like that, you're watching all this chaos go by, and you're just watching how much less expensive the Mag 7 are going to be for you to buy when you decide to pull the trigger. And I said, do not pull the trigger yet. Just because something's lower doesn't mean that it's done its move. It's actually more likely to continue to go lower. You can trust in gold because you know that there's going to be massive monetary deterioration as they print new money to pay for a lot of the problems we're having right now. An excessive amount of new money, even to purposely weaken the dollar in some ways. That's what it does. It just makes each dollar worth less. Not worthless, worth less. We'll get to worthless. You just got to wait a long time. But this monetary creation is going to dramatically push up the prices of precious metals, all commodities. It's going to dramatically push down the value of the American dollar. It's going to stoke and kickstart some massive inflation. And I'm telling you guys again, double-digit inflation, double-digit employment is what we have to look forward to. And also when you see these charts, consider that this is with the plunge protection team working overtime, and they still got trampled by the markets. This is what I'm telling you. You can have all these temporary influences, but they're artificial. They're temporary. So the plunge protection team could one day stop the markets from collapsing too much that day, but they can't hold the markets up. It's like a volleyball. You can be the best volleyball player in the world. You cannot keep it lofted for your entire life. It'll hit the ground eventually. You can trust in gold because it never changes in value. It's the only thing that just sits there and preserves your purchasing power, which is actually a benefit when everything else around it is declining in price. A lot of things have yet to start falling that will really add to this downward trend that we're all facing right now, such as real estate, altcoins. You'll see, you just gotta wait. I'm early, I know, just wait. You can trust gold because there's not a lot of other ports in this storm, and gold has outperformed real estate, cryptocurrencies, stocks, bonds, everything this year and in the last part of last year, and it's going to keep on going. This is the year for gold mining stocks, silver mining stocks. I just bought a lot of another silver miner company this morning at market open, but there's not really a lot of other good places to park your money. And there's going to be a big monetary rotation as we go through this big deleveraging, which they're talking about now on the news. As soon as I put out that video, I've heard it twice already. The deleveraging, or the reduction of the debt, mostly by force, mostly at cost. It's not a good thing to have less debt because the way that the debt gets reduced is painful, like a margin call, a foreclosure, a repossession. But overall, you do have less debt and you have less wealth. You can trust in gold because right now there are more nations worldwide over the last 10 years or so where they've really been repatriating all their gold, bringing it back from Switzerland, London, even from America, some of it. A lot of the gold in Fort Knox is actually owed to other countries, if it's there. You can trust in gold because right now there are more professional analysts and people who understand gold mining and silver mining. More experts right now are agreeing that silver prices are about to explode. Gold prices are only going to keep on climbing as they are. Now there's all this talk about going to 5,000 gold. Yeah, that's what happens. You get there, then they'll talk about 10,000. That's how the world works. But I told you, 365 days till we get to 4,000 is my outlook. And so far, we're doing pretty well. And just like yesterday, gold prices went down $110 an ounce. Never worry about gold. They're already up $57 an ounce today. Just don't even worry about it. Don't worry when it goes higher. Don't worry when it goes lower. Just understand that the value of the dollar is over here declining in value. So you don't even need to worry about gold. And know that it never changes value. Gold is gold is gold. That's it. That's what everything's priced on. You can trust in gold because this is representing the first ever death of fiat currencies worldwide. Fiat meaning by decree. They just say something's worth value and that's what makes it have value and everybody has confidence in it and they all trade it. Fiat currencies aren't backed by anything like gold like the American dollar used to be. People now have the technology and the education understanding that this is a problem. And every example of a fiat currency always ends the same way. Most currencies, the life cycle is only about 50 years. And then they replace it with something else. This is going to be something else right now. We're going to have a massive worldwide monetary shift, change. Something's going to change where people are going to remember what's really important, what value means, what is actual money. And I think there's going to be a big shift into gold because people have ignored it for so long. When everyone's ignoring something, you can only increase the amount of eyeballs on it over time. And you can trust in gold because there's a big chance of a devaluation of the US dollar against gold. Gold could just suddenly become worth $20,000 an ounce by decree, pretty much, if the president decides to do that. Just you wake up one day and gold's at 30,000, 5,000, 120,000. It takes care of all the debt, or gives a lot of purchasing power on the American credit card that we could almost wipe out the impact of all the debt we have by revaluing gold somewhere in the low six figures. You can trust in gold because it's the number one asset which has a risk premium built in when the world goes crazy. And right now, we're dealing with a level of weaponry, the ability to destroy massive populations of people, that's beyond anything we've ever seen. How many people died in World War I? 10 million soldiers, give or take. I mean, you obviously can't know, but 10 million civilians. So 20 million people in World War I. World War II, how many people died? Again, an estimate, of course, 80 million. So it went from 20 million to 80 million, an increase of 4 from one war to the next. I don't want to see what the world is like in our next increase of 4 times as many deaths, because the weapons we have now are a lot more precise and a lot more efficient and a lot more destructive. We don't even, as a society, have the ability as people to really understand the destructive capability that we've brought to bear, that we have in our hands right now, which when it gets used, you won't even know it, is the way I look at it. Which is one of the reasons, I know it's weird to talk about that with this, but like, you do want to own some gold. I mean, military things, they're one of the ones that push up the price premium in gold the most. And there's never been a time with more weaponry and more significant, potentially, events breaking out. North Korea has artificial intelligence drones with no humans that just think for themselves and fly around and kill people. They have that right now. Everyone's going to have that. Do yourself a favor and watch Terminator and Terminator 2. Not Terminator 3, because it explains how this all plays out. I think if you want to get a little bit more from me, you'd be crazy not to take some kind of action right now. Please subscribe to the channel. I ask you humbly to click like to help us spread the word and help more people get out of the way of the crashing train. And if you want to get in direct contact with me, have me at your beck and call 24/7, become a Peter Leeds Insider.